Well, good morning. Jayendra Rana here. The topic for the discussion today is Master Circular to Bolster India's Reinsurance Market. Master Circular to Bolster India's Reinsurance Market. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has recently issued a Master Circular under the IRDAI registration and operations of foreign reinsurance branches and Lloyd's India Regulations 2024 and the IRDAI Reinsurance Regulations 2018. So this Master Circular inter alia mandates cross-border insurers accepting reinsurance business from India to maintain collateral in India, making a significant step towards enhancing the domestic reinsurance landscape. So this initiative is expected to play a pivotal role in retaining reinsurance business within the country, positioning India as a burgeoning hub for reinsurance activities. The requirement of maintaining the collateral locally by CBRs means cross-border reinsurers, aims to fortify financial security and stability, thereby fostering greater confidence among the stakeholders and promoting the growth of the reinsurance sector in India. So this strategic move underscores India's commitment to creating a robust regulatory framework that not only safeguards domestic interests but also attracts global reinsurance players to invest and operate in mainland India or in the international side of the India, that is GIFT, GIFT, IFSC, under the aegis of International Finance Services Center Authority. So the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has issued a Master Circular on reinsurance in 2024 that includes new regulations for the insurance industry in India. So the Master Circular includes the key provisions like cross-border reinsurance, means cross-border reinsurance companies that accept reinsurance business from India must maintain collateral in India. Secondly, applicability. The Master Circular applies to all insurers, reinsurers, foreign reinsurers branches and Lloyd's India. And then effective date. The Master Circular comes into effect on the date of its issuance. On the date of its issuance. Now, it is upon the insurers to identify the regulatory agencies responsible for regulating insurance and reinsurance companies. And in India, of course, IRDAI is the body which is regulating under the primary legislation regulating the Indian insurance sector comprises the Insurance Act 1938 and the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority Act 1999. So under the powers granted by the IRDA under the IRDA Act, the IRDAI has issued various regulations governing the licensing and functioning of insurance and reinsurance companies and insurance intermediaries. So, the capital and surplus requirement for insurance and reinsurance companies is also decided by the IRDAI because the insurance regulatory framework prescribes varying capital and surplus requirements for different insurance and reinsurance companies. Insurance companies are required to have a minimum paid up equity capital of 1 billion rupees. Reinsurance companies are required to have a minimum paid up capital of 2 billion rupees. So a foreign reinsurance company seeking to set up a branch office in India is required to have a minimum net owned funds of 50 billion rupees and is further required to infuse a minimum assigned capital of 1 billion rupees into the branch office. An IIO set up by an Indian or foreign insurance or insurance company or other permissible entities is required to have a minimum net owned funds of 10 billion rupees and maintain a minimum assigned capital of 124 billion rupees. A Lloyd's India branch is required to have a minimum assigned capital of 1 million rupees and syndicates of Lloyd's India are required to maintain an assigned capital of 50 billion rupees through their service companies in India. So the draft insurance bill proposes to remove the minimum paid up equity capital requirements and specifies that the determination of minimum paid up equity capital will be in accordance with the regulations specified by the IRDAI depending on the size and scale of operations, class or subclasses of insurance business and the category of type of insurers. As far as the requirement with respect to reserve maintained by insurance and reinsurance companies is concerned, so the insurance and reinsurance companies are required to maintain at all times a solvency margin of assets over the number of liabilities of not less than 50% of the amounts of the minimum capital requirement of such insurance or reinsurance company. So the required solvency margin is calculated by insurance companies based on their mathematical reserves and the sum at risk. So IRDAI periodically specifies the factors that must be considered in the calculation of the required solvency margin. Then the regulatory requirement with respect to insurance products offered for sale. So the IRDA itself is approving all the products submitted by the insurance companies for selling. And the frequency, types and scope of financial, market conduct or other periodic examinations of insurance and reinsurance companies is also laid down. Because the insurance companies, reinsurance companies and insurance intermediaries are amenable to inspections and investigations by the IRDAI. No specific frequency has been prescribed for these investigations and inspections. Even service providers and contractors to insurance companies or insurance intermediaries are also obliged to furnish to the IRDAI, if required during any investigation and inspection, all books of accounts, registers and other documents and database in their custody or power that relate to the affairs of the insurance company or the reinsurance company. So, The regulatory requirement on a change of control of insurance and reinsurance companies have to be informed to the regulator, because the Indian insurance regulatory framework does not expressly regulate the financing of the acquisition of an Indian insurance or reinsurance company. There are no specific provision or requirements under the Indian insurance regulatory framework on the acquisition of a minority interest in an insurance company or reinsurance company. So the Amendment Act 2021 has increased the foreign direct investment limit in insurance and reinsurance companies from 49% to 74%. The IRDAI directly regulates only those insurance companies, reinsurance companies and insurance intermediaries operating in the India or Indian insurance sector, and currently does not regulate the operations of the group entities of such insurance companies or insurance intermediaries. However, there are some restrictions on insurance companies and reinsurance companies. Insurance companies and insurance intermediaries operating in the same group, where the IRDAI has discretion to determine the scope of group. So as far as the regulations are concerned, IRDAI Reinsurance Regulation 2018, Reinsurance Regulation issued by the IRDAI, define a reinsurance contract as a commercial agreement that is legally binding on all the parties and that is evidenced by a reinsurance slip, cover note or another such document. Reinsurance arrangements need not be pre-approved by the IRDAI, but they must be documented and filed with the IRDAI within the stipulated time frame. So, overarching regulatory framework for the reinsurance of all insurance risk in India is set out in the reinsurance regulations. The guiding principle is maximizing retention within India. So each Indian insurance company must maintain the maximum possible retention commensurate with its financial strength, quality of risk, and volume of business. Regarding additions, both Indian reinsurance companies and foreign reinsurance branches are required to maintain a minimum retention of 50% of their Indian business. An Indian insurance company is also strictly prohibited from fronting for a foreign insurance company or reinsurance company. So fronting is defined as a process of transferring risk in which an Indian insurance company cedes or retrocedes most or all of the assumed risk to a reinsurance company or a retrocessionaire. Further, Indian insurance companies are required to mandatorily cede a certain percentage of the sum assured on each policy for different classes of insurance written in India to Indian reinsurance companies as defined under the provisions of the Insurance Act. Apportionment of obligatory cession for the financial year 24-25 has remained consistent with the previous year's requirement of 4%. So the requirement to place the entire obligatory cession only with the General Insurance Corporation of India also continues to be applicable. So, subject to the retention limit and the obligatory cession to the Indian reinsurance company for other cessions, every cedent is required to comply with the order of preference for cessions set out in the reinsurance regulations, where cedent is defined under the reinsurance regulations as an Indian insurance company writing direct insurance business that contractually cedes a portion of the risk. Although the order of the preference does not apply to Indian insurance companies transferring life insurance business, the reinsurance regulations requires them to endeavor to utilize the Indian domestic capacity before offering reinsurance placement to CBRs. Life insurance companies are also required to obtain the prior approval of the IRDAI before entering into reinsurance arrangements with their promoter company or associate or group companies, except where the arrangements are on commercially competitive terms and an arm's length basis. So currently the Indian insurance regulatory framework does not expressly regulate requirements for cedants to obtain credit for insurance on their financial statements. The Indian insurance regulatory framework does not specifically regulate the priority of claims against an insurance or reinsurance company in an insolvency proceedings. However, because the winding up of an insurance company would be under the Companies Act and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, so the priority of claims prescribed thereunder would apply to an insurance and reinsurance company as well. So this is the latest trend of the reinsurance, because an entity such as company or a limited liability partnership that is registered as a reinsurer in India have to follow the Master Circular Guidelines. This has been issued by the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Thank you very much.